Hello, my name's Arthur Cooper. I was born in a little village just outside Wigan called Goose Green. My father was a miner, a pitman. My mum worked in the local mills. We lived in a two up, two down with my two elder brothers, sharing an outside toilet. That's the way life was then. I went to St Paul's Junior and Infant School, and then to Gidlow Academy for Young Gentlemen, a secondary school in Wigan. Leaving that secondary school at 15, although I had a good education, I left not being able to read or write properly. Got a job in a local garage as an apprentice motor mechanic, but the boss of that garage soon realised I was better at getting money out of people's pockets to buy second-hand cars than I was at repairing them with a spanner. And it was a job I loved, because he moved me to the sales department. I soon developed my own little sales business. I got a degree in marketing on West Autumn Market and was quite successful at everything that I did. At 19 years old, I married Kathleen, my wife. Right? We bought a house in Wigan, and that was difficult at that time because normally you didn't buy a house, you couldn't get a mortgage until you were 21 years old. But we did. 12 months later, we had our first daughter, Gillian, followed by Michael some 18 months later. 5 years later, moving back to Goose Green, my daughter going to the same school as I went to, coming home one day asking to go to Sunday school. It was a Sunday school that I'd attended, so I thought, well, it hadn't done me any harm, so yes. But then a twinge of conscience. I decided that I needed to support her and would go with her on the third Sunday of each month to the family-friendly services. And that I did. And soon I was totally involved in church life. Then a change of vicar. A vicar who spoke about Jesus Christ and a personal relationship with him and knowing the love of Jesus. I hadn't heard this before. I am not saying that other vicars hadn't spoken it. I'm saying I hadn't heard it before. And I wanted to know more. And I did. And one day I stood up in that church and I said this: I know that I'm a sinner. I know that I need to say sorry to God. And I know that I need to ask him to come into my life. And that I did. And what a difference it has made. What a difference it has made. Now, developing my businesses, a few years later, Kathleen and I bought a Christian bookshop. For someone who couldn't read or write, that's something that God did for us, and it's something that's quite amazing. We ran that Christian bookshop for 25 years. I also developed other businesses, one or two of them going into liquidation, going into bankruptcy. On hindsight, it was usually because I hadn't consulted God, I hadn't asked Jesus. I went my own way. But what a patient God we have, what a patient Jesus we have, who brought me back onto that right path. We retired and sold the bookshop in 2004. I got a phone call from the then Bishop of Liverpool asking me would I consider taking on the post of non-ordained paid minister running a church in Liverpool. And we did. And we worked in Liverpool in that church for 13 years. 2 years before I left, I was ordained a priest. I moved from there on retirement, but then was asked to take on a part-time post as a priest in a little village called Hollins Green in Cheshire. And that's where I am right now. What a journey I've had. What a way God has worked in mine and Kathleen's life. And he can do the same in your life. You see, I'm an ordinary person. I've never been an alcoholic. I've never been in prison. I've never taken drugs. Or maybe if someone had given me change for a tenner rather than a fiver, then I probably wouldn't have told them. But otherwise, I was just an ordinary person, probably as ordinary as you are right now. But someone who's experienced the love of Jesus in their lives. And it's something that you can experience. There's no secret. All you have to do is acknowledge that you're a sinner, acknowledge that you've fallen short of God's grace. That's all you've got to do. And then say you're sorry. And then simply ask him into your life. And if you do that, you'll know the power of God. You'll know the love of Jesus. And you'll know the power of God's Holy Spirit in your life. You may be just an ordinary person, like me. But like me, you can experience all that God has to offer for those who put their trust and faith in him. And you can do it right now. God says this, "I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you." Why don't you simply ask Jesus into your life right now?